All right, we just got in the M.O.R.E skid plate for the 2020. I believe it also goes for the 21 Jeep Gladiator 3.6 liter engine. If you didn't see one of my other videos, the mounting for the engine mounts are a little bit different from the JL. You can see on one of my previous videos where that's different. The way this is, it's a much larger box, and let's go ahead and pull this out. The overall shipping package of it looks pretty good at this point. I'm going to spare you the time on getting this out. As you can tell, I am extremely impressed with their packing ability. Not only did they saran wrap all of this and make sure that it is nice and tight where you're not going to lose anything, but the amount of paper they put in there so it doesn't get beat up on the way, honestly, probably overkill, since this is made to get beaten up on the trail and get some scratches. But just looking off the bat, I'm already happy with this, the way it's already looking. So let's get this unboxed and get on the Jeep. All right, so we got a bag of bolts with our instructions in it. We'll pull those out and look at how those are going to do. Obviously nice, thick, heavy duty. The one thing I did notice about this versus the other one, I'll have to remember what brand it was, but where the oil might spill into, it's got a way for it to actually drain. On the last one that I had, the oil would actually end up spilling. They did have a hole, but it really didn't go through it. It was much smaller, and it ended up with coming down this area and sitting in it. So you had to end up getting up in there with a towel, wiping it down anyways. The only half issue I could see, never mind, it's right here. It's welded on the back side, so any oil coming on this side won't spill through. It will be forced to come out here. I was gonna say, if I didn't see a weld there, I was gonna stick some silicone in there, but it looks like they've pretty much taken care of that. So let's pull the Jeep in and get it put on. All right, I haven't read through every single step. I'm going to, but overall, I am liking what I see. The pictures are very much to the point. They are showing you what actually needs to be done and where. Looks like they're spot on. I'm kind of making the video just for people like me that don't like to necessarily look at pictures and just read the directions. I like to see it actually being done, and that's where we want to start. So let's get to it. And here's just the pile of some of the parts. Looks like an oversized washer, so that way it won't slip off of the engine mount. We got some spacers, some heavy duty bolts. These are the locking style. I am going to go ahead and use some Loctite in addition to this. All right, it is a little hard to get the angle that we need, but for those of you that have the automatics, this one here is going to be needed removed. There's a bolt right here on this edge and one on the far side where you can see it's dropped down. It's going to be one back here on the middle support, and then you're pulling out that one, and then the one all the way over at the end of the gas. So I've got these loose right now just so you can see them. We'll pull those out and slide it. Okay, when looking up from the bottom side, let me get the light mounted there. We are going to be putting the brackets onto these two bolts here. And when we come across this side here, the other two should be coming to these two right here. So let's get those on and you can see that. This is the view from the back of the vehicle looking forward. As you can tell, the passenger side is going to be the more rounded one right here. I've got the two bolts just on finger tight right now. When we get everything else mounted up, I'll take one off at a time, add that Loctite. Before tightening everything down, we'll want to get everything bolted up. This is now looking from the front to the back. And same thing here, we have put on those two bolts or nuts up here, kind of hard to see. And this side is the one that has the more of like a 45-degree angle cut here instead of it being completely round. Those are going to hang down just below there as we get that plate in. Alright, per the instructions, we're going to use the factory bolts to begin with. We're going to try to lift this up in place, slide these in, and just hand tighten them just a couple of turns. And then later on we're going to come back with these that came in the package with our new bolts. So let's see if we can do this by myself. Obviously, if you have a friend that can help, it's going to greatly help. So after getting the back two in, we're going to go ahead and move up here, and we'll lift this up and get those in place, and then work on getting the rest of the bolts done. All right, like we said, we're going to lift this up. The bolt is going to come in from the inside. That's where it's squared off at, to the outside. Make sure you get that all the way through. Place your bolt on, followed by the nut. Again, I'm going to come back and add Loctite to all of this once I get it done. I will suggest not sliding up underneath this, but go around to the other side just for safety purpose. We're going to put the other bolt, washer and nut on that side, and then come back in and switch out those back ones like the instructions have. Okay, after going back over the instructions, so these bolts, the factory ones, are only going to be used in the instance that you are using their other skid plates. Since we are not using that, we're going to pull these out, place one of these washers in between the bolt and the frame, followed by this large washer, which allows you to skid over some rocks without tearing your bolts up. And then the bolt is going to place in like that and going through to that, and we'll tighten those down. I've only got one hand, so I'm going to come off camera. Obviously, you guys know how to put nuts and bolts in, and we'll get you it all tightened up. Now, I forgot to mention the bolts that were in these original spots are 19mm, and same thing with the replacements. This one up here is also 19mm, and the one far up there, there's going to be deep socket 16mm. All right, so we've gotten all the nuts and bolts tightened down. Just want to kind of go over real quick some of the stuff we do have on here. We've obviously got the lower control arm, rock rails. We've got the Rancho differential guard. We've got the M.O.R.E brand for both the oil pan and the skid plate. They do make additional stuff to go in the rear. We are not as worried about that. We do have the rear differential skid and the rear lower control arms to protect any type of rock from damaging that area. But as far as anything kind of coming up on the back of the differential or transfer case here, not as worried about, since there is a factory one there. We're not doing super heavy duty off-road stuff, but we do some very aggressive trails. But for the most part, we're normally not meeting rocks right there, and there is already some protection. That might be something we do later on, but as far as right now, for the $300 of this costs, I'm very happy with it, especially compared to the other one I had that I want to say I paid about $250 for on our JL that did not cover as far back as this did. These are a really nice added touch that they did. I know I originally said these were for the motor mounts, where I was wrong. They are for back here for those rocks to be able to slide off of. I can't really say I've got anything bad to say about this yet. Their design seems to be really well put together. We'll put it on the trails in the next few weeks.